What stopped you from committing suicide? For me, it was believing that life wouldn't be the same tomorrow as it is today. I wanted to get married someday, find someone who would know me and love me for who I am. I wanted to know what that felt like, and it gave me enough to keep saying one more day. My dog, he would have died too. I grew up with a lot of friends and family who had loved ones take their own lives. Seeing the toll it took on the people left behind really makes you feel guilty about even considering it. A large part of my depression is feeling guilty about burdening others, so I couldn't imagine inflicting that pain on my loved ones. A promise I made to an old friend. A deer. I was on a country road looking for a spot to do it, and I'd see a raccoon, then an owl. I love wildlife, and it seemed no matter where I went, there was something that reminded me of that love, but wasn't enough to stop me. Then a deer slowly walked up to my vehicle. It was pitch black and my eyes had adjusted enough to see her. She was magnificent. She stood there in silence looking me over. I swear on my soul she was weeping. I went home and hugged my mama. I've never held a firearm since. I love life and am terrified of dying. I could never put my family and friends through dealing with me killing myself. My cat wouldn't know why I didn't come home. Years ago I was super depressed and a coke addict. After 3 days of missing work while on a bender, no food, no sleep, I decided it was finally time. I made my way to the bridge down the street from my apartment and was actually a little excited for it to all be over. I stared down at the traffic, and I don't know how, but it was like there was another person in my head screaming at me from down a hallway. If you can make this choice to end your life and ruin others, what is stopping you from choosing to seek help and fix this instead? It was me, it was my voice. The person I tried so hard to push away for years. And it just clicked. This is a choice I have decided to make. I'm allowed to choose something else. I immediately went to my mother and stepfather and told them everything. It was hard. The next day I signed up for addiction therapy, once a week for 6 months, and it changed my life. Life is all about choices. Even when you choose death, just remember you don't have to. Seek help, talk to people, never give up. Pain, but I'm still seeking to try. I used to have PMDD, severe onset monthly deep depressions were part of my existence. Not owning a gun and having an animal to care for, I don't have children, were the two top contenders for keeping me here. Knowing no one could care for my pup the way I do, was always the saving thread. I've never told that to anyone. Before you ask, what alleviated the condition was perimenopause. So, I'm sorry that's not a direct solution for most. Drops in estrogen have truly changed my life. My cat. When things happened, greater than by suffocation. Less than I found something inside me that chose life. After this, some time passed and I was out of depression. Few months passed and the pandemic started. I thought that I would go back to the depression, but this didn't happen. Also I got COVID, was put in coma for 11 days, woke up quadriplegic, 75% lungs compromised, high blood pressure, lost my kidneys, lost my gallbladder. The recovery was slow and painful, and again I was knocked down, got through everything with a love for being alive. I said I was going to die as a teenager, and I'm going to die as teenager, even if I have to wait until 113. Currently 29, so I wait for that age. I will end it if I'm somehow 119. I ain't waiting to be 213 years old. I thought it would be an inconvenience for the people I was traveling with. I failed. Also sleeping. I knew my family and friends would miss me a lot. I also have dreams I still want to achieve. My dogs. The fear of the process hurting, I guess. I wanted to see what I would look like when I grew up. That's the only thing that stopped me, and I still look the same to myself, but now have kids and a purpose, and glad I didn't. I love all of you. I read a story about people who survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, and everyone who jumped and lived to tell about it said they felt regret instantly after jumping. Hololive. It may be weird, but knowing that they're here for me when anything else isn't makes me have hope again. The talents themselves are highly talented and have changed my world with their songs, so I'm happy I'm still here on this world. My daughter. She'll need someone to travel the country interviewing universities. She needs someone to walk her down the aisle. She needs someone to buy her first home away from home. My wife. I can't ask her to do that all alone, she'll need someone to help. And every day I wake up, black dog crushing me, weight bearing down on my shoulders, telling me that today's the day. And then I remember that I can be that someone, for both of them. And so I try to be the best version of myself, for them. Sounds trite and silly, but sometimes seeing my daughter smile, or feeling a cuddle from my wife, is the only thing keeping me from grabbing a 10A and opening both wrists in a warm bath. Plus I wasn't either of them to find me like that. Stay safe all, and if anybody wants to talk, to vent, to scream about the sheer bloody unpleasantness of it all, DM me. Or a friend. Just talk to somebody. We're not alone, we all need help. 30. I heard that people who survived jumping off a building immediately regretted doing it as they were falling. Decided that if every one of those people ended up regretting it, I probably will too, so just didn't do it. A few things: a crippling fear of death, a high intolerance to pain, spite, and a strong desire to accomplishing enough in life to say fuck you to all the people who bullied me, and to my past self who felt helpless and afraid, and finally, finding meds that actually did help me achieve a better mental state. Some additional points. 1. Controlled spite is a hell of a motivator, it's what gets me up and going every day. 2. Lots of people knock meds, but for some people they're literally the difference between life and death. I put off taking them for like 3 years because I read about the potential side myself and sent myself into a spiral of paranoia, but once I finally took and stuck to them, I regretted that period of stubbornness and ignorance. They were all worth it in the end. 3. Being depressed and anxious, to the point of being suicidal, combined with a crippling fear of death, is one of the most cruel paradoxes and fates on earth. Daily, hourly mental torment, with no logical way out. I don't miss those days. Trying to write goodbye to my mom. I can't imagine the sound she would make. The idea of my husband telling my kids. They're little and would absolutely not comprehend. My baby boy falls asleep twirling my hair. My stepdad did it, and the amount of devastation following made me decide that no matter how much I hurt, I can never hurt the people I love that much. The office/parks and recreations. They saved me. My mom and my spiritual beliefs. Knowing how it would make my sister feel and not being able to do that to her. Every day, if necessary, I promise myself to wait one more day. Oh, I was ready to go. It was almost painful to continue. Living was really a static form of existing. Depression is true apathy, where you let all your identification expire because there is no longer a need to keep it. To stop watering plants. I think if the many worlds theory exists, which apparently is important for a certain amount of dimensions to exist, I killed myself a lot. In this world I thought twice. I hated myself. I had a dead-end job. I was scared shitless of society. So I wasn't really in a position to be helped or uplifted by anyone or anyway. I had to save myself because nobody was coming to rescue me. I guess I started small. I knew my viewpoints/perceptions were that of persecution/neglect and self-loathing. I had anxiety, social anxiety, depression, bad self-esteem, eating disorder, insomnia, shook visibly, sweating cold palms. I had to break my sense of dread for the world and life, and since I was ready to die, I had nothing to lose to be ready to live. The very first step was I no longer hit the snooze button. Literally decided to pop out of bed instead of hit the snooze button over and over. The truth was I was up most nights with terrible dread and anxiety and barely slept. So no more snooze, no more dreading my days. Well, why did I dread my days so much? My dead-end job as a MGR at Burger King. I did maintenance too. That's about 60 hours a week every weekend. I did that too long. Since I was ready to die, I quit and found a shiny new job that paid more, that was not dirty and miserable. It helped force me into new social situations. I learned new skills. I started realizing I could actually choose better options. Next was health. I got rid of my deep fryer. I started choosing better options, which then forced me to explore new recipes and discover wonderful things like pickling red onions for tacos. All the while understanding my vibe was dark and negative and ultimately detrimental to my psyche. So I started trying to think more positively. I started having hope for myself. It took me over 20 years to quit tobacco. Incrementally I got better. Things turned from grey to color. It didn't happen overnight. I could go on and on about how I worked on myself and how I completely changed every aspect of my life and health for the good, and yet have so far to go, but I did it all in small steps. Small changes lead to huge leaps. Life isn't what's happening to you, it's the perception, it's the reaction that matters. The ones that want to hurt me only hurt themselves. Now I see where they come from. The other universes be damned. There are people in this world that need a you that isn't the you that you think you are today. Tomorrow can start with a small change. Go for a walk, eat the salad, talk to the girl, go on the trip, do it. Better things can happen. Just choose yourself.